The podcast you are about to listen to contains at least one of the following: strong language, disturbing topics, abusive opinions, generally things that aren't appropriate for little kids or overly sensitive people. So, if any of that stuff's going to get your nose out of joint, this is your chance to turn it off.
Feelings don't matter, so brace yourself tight. He'll lay it down heavy, he'll light up the night. No sugar-coated tales, just cold hard facts. In the realm of opinions, there's no turning back. Listen closer, just walk away. But Aaron had to say it, come what may. Here comes Aaron with the truth untold. No holding back, watch the truth unfold. On the podcast airways, feel the righteous sting. You either take it in or let the silence ring.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of I Had to Say It. So we're going to start as we do by saying to Iceman, Jason, Mike, Tabby, Javier, Fitz, McShane, El Jefe, El Devil, and El Morte, the guys at the Weather Report, to Billy G, and to Walt from the Be Raw Podcast. Thank you for your continued support. It really means a lot to me that you guys want to keep, breaking that little bit of bread with me and showing me a little bit of love. I love you guys all back. Yeah, I really do. That's not a line. That's not bullshit. Love you guys. So anyway, we're into another week of the Trump's presidency. Again, we're not even 3 full weeks out from the day he was inaugurated. The left is having their usual meltdowns where they're trying to blame literally everything in the fucking world on Donald Trump. Everything that's wrong with the world, all the talking heads and the pundits and the fucking politicians who can't keep their fucking mouth shut and just have the common sense to realize the American people are fed up with their shit, are out here trying to, make social media posts, which are, let's be honest, most of their accounts are probably run by some fucking underpaid intern because Lord knows these parasites didn't get rich by being fucking generous with their money. They're generous with our fucking money, but that's a whole nother, we'll get to that. But anyway, and it's the same shit over and over again. Well, Donald Trump's in office and the eggs cost more than they ever have before, and Donald Trump's in office and he, instead of focusing on bringing prices down, he's busy trying to gut the federal government. Now, I understand why this appeals to like hardcore leftist motherfuckers because they have no critical thinking, they have no long-term thinking, and they don't seem to realize that gutting the federal government will in the long term put more money back in your fucking pocket. And it's just, basic economics 101. But we've got the usual nonsense, and Elon Musk and his team of weaponized autistic Gen Z motherfuckers have been taking a fucking sledgehammer to a lot of the federal government so far. And again, Elon, despite how every leftist yammering fucking bobblehead out there tries to paint the matter, Elon is not the one actually terminating these people. Elon is not the one actually firing motherfuckers. Elon is collecting data and presenting it to the president, who subsequently acts on said data to cut waste and fraud out of the fucking system, which is what he was running. Fuck me, I can't talk. What he was running on and why he got elected. And he's actually keeping his promises, which is, I'm sure, a completely foreign concept to every one of these career parasites that has been in the White House or been in D.C. for, 15, 20, 30 fucking years plus. Because, as I mentioned a while back, let's not forget the median age of Congress right now is 67 fucking years old. So, and again, that's the median age. That's the average age, which means, yes, for every fucking AOC or other 30-something-year-old, you got somebody in there that's 90 fucking years old still wandering the halls. So let's keep that in mind as we try and talk about how these parasites are unable to change. They cannot keep up with the shifting political atmosphere. And literally it shows in every single thing they're doing to try and react to this. We've got, worthless ass Maxine Waters, what's his nuts, the fucking Democrat from the really blue county in Florida, young motherfucker. I can't think of his Maxwell, I think. Anyway, irrelevant. Doesn't matter. I don't want to sidetrack myself trying to throw out names to specifics, but literally every leftist talking head is out here throwing out the same talking points. Oh my God, nobody voted for Elon Musk. And and when I say every leftist, I'm including the fat jelly-filled fuck muppet governor of the state I live in, who has been making way more waves on social media lately. I mean, we're talking like waves like his fat ass trying to get into a kiddie pool. Those kind of waves. Fucking tsunami level waves. This motherfucker is stumping so hard, and I don't know what makes him think he has even a slightest chance at fucking running for the White House, but that's what everybody's saying he's trying to do. And it kind of seems like it, but he doesn't seem to be any better at reading the room than every other leftist degenerate fuckbag out there, because they're all doing the same playbook. Oh, nobody elected Elon. Nobody voted for Elon. Part and parcel, the people who voted for Donald Trump understood it was a package deal. They were voting for Donald Trump in a lot of cases because Elon was coming on board, because he was bringing in RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard and a bunch of people that were not traditional Republicans. A bunch of people running on a ticket, not of one individual person, not of one individual party, but of a fucking team concept to actually better the country. And having that kind of commitment and having that kind of broad approach towards things is what these, like, establishment motherfuckers really don't understand. They don't process that this is what the American people fucking voted for. We don't want grift. We don't want any more fucking corruption. We don't want our tax dollars being spent irresponsibly on programs we don't fucking agree with. And that's really the big bullet about it, is Elon and his autistic youth brigade are bringing all this shit to light. You know, sunlight is still the best disinfectant, and bringing this stuff to light, exposing, like USAID, exposed to be funneling billions of dollars all around the planet, pushing leftist agendas, trans agenda, the fucking, you know, all just the spending levels are obscene and stupid, and exposing the fact that, like, FEMA says, oh no, we're not giving money to, you know, we're not robbing the American people so we can keep bringing in illegals. Oh yes, the fuck they are. And just massive and rampant waste and spending money on stupid fucking shit. Millions and tens of millions of dollars on things like finding out if you can perform sex changes on fucking lab rats and have the sex change take. None of this shit should matter to fucking anybody with more than a half a fucking brain cell left to their fucking name. And the government's just funding it. And we come to find out, like, the disbursement office, the people that are responsible for handling the checks in the last, like, 10 years have never fucking said no to a payment that was filed with them. I mean, literally, nothing, anything that comes across their desk, yep, we just pay it. It's easier than having to deal with the bullshit of trying to deny a claim or trying to deny a check. The Treasury's being irresponsible. The Treasury's getting audited. And we have all these fucking leftist fucking clowns. Every fucking Democrat out there, every person who's in Trump's crosshairs for all the shit they tried to pull over the last 4 years, they're all still seeing the same playbook. When it's Schiff and fucking rat shit and fucking Liz Warren and all these other yammering, flapping heads, fucking Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth, the two worthless fucking representatives that represent me, according to, you know, districts anyway. They don't believe in a single thing I agree with. They don't represent my opinions, my beliefs, my facts, or anything that matters to me. So I hate to call them my representatives, but technically that's how I have to refer to them. They're both fucking utterly worthless. Durbin's human fucking filth, and Duckworth is a fucking DEI fucking senator. It's pathetic. And she, you know, somebody who stumped her military service when she was her own incompetence cost her fucking legs, and she wheeled her way into the fucking Senate because of that shit. It's pathetic. But I'm getting worked up and I'm getting off track. Point is, all the usual suspects are coming to play, and they're out there banging their drums, and they're literally calling for violence in the fucking streets in response to Elon and his group of weaponized autists exposing the grift, exposing the corruption and the fraud and the fucking, you know, why are we paying $37 million to keep fucking Liberians from having AIDS pandemics and to pay for AIDS medication for third world countries? I mean, you know, part of me says, yeah, it's really a shame that you've got AIDS and without, you know, medical assistance, you're going to die. But the other part of me says we're $36 trillion in debt and climbing. And even though Elon's saved something like 70 or 80 billion so far with these cuts, which I might add the Democrats are fighting tooth and nail to prevent, we'll come to that shortly. Again, funding, you know, birth control for the fucking Middle East, not a priority to American citizens. Funding, you know, a LGBTQIA plus LMNOP fucking musical in Ireland, not a priority to American citizens. Not a single fucking reason that justifies why our tax dollars are going to these things. Finding out that through USAID, hundreds of fucking NGOs, non-government organizations, are receiving their funding, well over 50% of their baseline funding from the government through this organization, funneling that money back to fucking the Soros family, who subsequently uses it to undermine American democracy and install fucking puppets in the judicial system. I mean, to his credit, the Soros family figured out a fantastic way to deal with the country, because why spend, $10 million buying one fucking senator when you could spend that $10 million to buy 100 fucking local officials that will fucking implement your policies at a grassroots level and corrupt everything from the bottom up. And all these people that are out here protesting and bitching that Elon wasn't elected, and Elon was, well, no, he wasn't. He was fucking appointed. So suck it up. Nobody in the executive branch was elected except for the president. The president is the chief executive, and it's his responsibility to run the executive branch as he sees fucking fit, as long as it's within the confines of the law as outlined by the Constitution. Now, we have a bunch of activist judges and activist DAs and attorney generals all fighting with Donald Trump, trying to stop literally everything he's implemented since he took office. And they're saying, oh, well, he's not above the law, and he doesn't have this right, and he doesn't have that right. Some, appointed fucking district attorney or district judge, whether it's a federal judge or any other judge under the Supreme Court, does not have the authority to say fucking boo in terms of how the executive branch is being managed by the president. As of when I sit down to record this ranty bullshit, we've got activist judges trying to literally stop Trump appointees like the head of the Treasury from actually accessing the Treasury, saying basically he's just supposed to be a figurehead. That's not your determination to make, you fucking corrupt sack of shit. And honestly, it's just been utterly ridiculous. And on top of that, the thing that's really, I'm kind of hung up on this week, and the thing that's really got it stuck in my craw is all the just rampant, smooth-brained fuckery coming out of average people who want to talk about, the leftists who haven't woken up, the people who see the corruption and the stuff getting exposed. They're not complaining, and they're not out there threatening to riot and protest over the corruption. They're mad that Elon exposed it. Oh, how dare he have access to my personal information? It's the richest man on the fucking planet. What do you think he's going to do with your fucking 480 credit score, you dumb piece of shit? You've never had a real job. You've had part-time employment your entire fucking adult life. You are a barista and you write lesbian slam poetry on the fucking weekends. You have $84 in your fucking wallet and no checking and credit. And you think Elon gives a fuck about your personal information. You are a fucking retard. And they're out here, and again, it's one of those things about the internet that's a great thing and it's a horrible thing at the same time, is everybody has a fucking voice. The problem is some people have way too much self-confidence and way too little fucking brains. And it seems to actually be an inverse relationship. The dumber you are, the more confident people seem to be in their fucking beliefs these days. It's like the dumb fucks that we're talking about. Donald Trump's been a president and he's not doing anything to help, the people in North Carolina back in December. These stupid, smooth-brained fucks who are so confident that they figured out the world works and they know they're going to blame Orange Man bad. But they're just inherently fucking wrong, and they're so fucking stupid. And it's across the board. And believe me, when the ultra right-wing assholes start feeling froggy and start getting comfortable and chirping again, and you get them fucking really deep woods rednecks and the fucking extra racist motherfuckers that are come out and start trying to talk about anything even remotely, then I'll be more than happy to line them up and let them have it too. But for right now, they're still keeping pretty quiet. The religious nut jobs have kept their heads down, although we do have the Pope and the Roman Catholic Church coming out basically being the leftist shill that he has been. I mean, I can't stand the current Pope. He's fucking trash as far as I'm concerned. And I'm saying that as someone who, I did time as an altar boy. I mean, that's a whole nother set of stories on there. Maybe I'll put some of my thoughts on that behind the Patreon wall or something. But yeah, no, just for background, yeah, I was definitely involved on that. And, but again, I digress. We have all this leftist nonsense being picked up and amplified, and the dying mainstream media is just creating another echo chamber. You got those worthless fucking harpies on The View still out there running their goddamn mouths like they're some sort of experts. Nobody gives a fuck what you smooth-brained cunts have to say. I'm sorry. I know some people get a little bent out of shape when I call people cunts, but if they weren't acting so cunty, I wouldn't fucking do it. And I, again, on and on and on, and just every single Trump nominee that comes up before, out of committee and starts to vote on, every sanctimonious, self-righteous fucking jackass with a D next to their name feels the need to go out and make social media posts. Oh, well, I had to say no because I couldn't in good faith, vote to certify this person or that person. I couldn't in good faith. Nobody expects anybody on the left to vote for a single one of these nominees to the affirmative. The fact that Fetterman voted for a couple of people, surprised the shit out of me. He actually seems to be a Democrat that's willing to work across the aisle and not be purely ideologically driven. So maybe having a stroke is actually good for your common fucking sense. He says he was there to work for everybody, and if we're just stonewalling everything, nothing's going to get done. Who would have thought the stroke victim would be the one to realize that the fucking American people are fed the fuck up? But, there we are. And so, again, like I said, we have all these, whining, mewling, just sad, pathetic little leftist motherfuckers, and all of them just gleefully publishing videos and explaining their own ignorance and calling for violence and calling for assassination and calling for fucking, and not just assassination of the Cheeto, but assassination of Elon and his minions, and saying they should, we've got fucking hood rat, ghetto ass Jasmine fucking Crockett, that worthless sack of tits. I feel bad for Texas. I feel bad for anybody who she's supposed to represent, because, yeah, she's got a net worth of $10 million, and she is a fucking hood rat piece of shit, which just goes to show you a lot of money doesn't guarantee you can't buy fucking class. Class is something you either have or you don't. And a lot of people might make assumptions based on how I speak on this podcast and my general demeanor in which I carry myself, because honestly, what you see is what you get with me, and it's pretty much, I is what I is. I don't apologize for it. I am what I am. I own it. And I'm dirt poor, and I'm just sitting here doing my own little thing. But at the end of the day, I can be as classy as fuck when I need to. I can carry myself. I can move in those circles where, I believe it or not, I actually can function pretty well in the rarefied waters. I do know how to keep my mouth shut. I do know how to speak appropriately and with proper context and without using cusses if I really don't want to. It's just very exhausting for me. It taps into a part of my background and my upbringing that I really don't like going to that fucking well, because I find it fake and exhausting. But, on the other hand, you can also have a mouth like a trucker and still have some fucking class. This cunt has none. And she's out there they're going to learn. It's going beyond. Just, neck swinging, whipping her fucking weave around with them fucking dead spiders she's got glued to her fucking eyeballs. Just fucking, God, I can't stand that fucking bitch. And, literally we have all these Democrats out here calling for, people to be out in the streets, and all the same shit they were doing this during the Summer of Love, all the same shit leading up to the fucking Floyd riots. We don't have to take this, we're going to take to the streets, because they can't fall back. They don't have a moral high ground. They don't have it. They've been exposed. So literally all they have left is a fucking incitement to violence, which, for all the inherent fucketry coming from these morons, and it's not going to end well. It's not going to go the way they think it is. It's not, because honestly, the center and the right are tired of letting it slide. There's not going to be any more rolling over if this shit happens again. I guarantee it. Not that I'm eager for the prospect of it. I would just as soon keep going on with my day-to-day life. But I guarantee that that's going to, they're pushing for it. They're trying to get this shit starting, and I'm honestly saying you got to sit back and watch as the weather starts to heat up. And I honestly think the biggest mistake the right is probably making on this is underestimating the left's capacity for fucking violence. I don't know how to put it either. Like, don't discount like the Antifa motherfuckers just because the ones that were in the Summer of Love were by and wide a bunch of like, toothless fucking putzes who without the sheer volume of people wouldn't have accomplished a fucking thing. Because honestly, I do believe they probably have cells out there, particularly with the uptick in trans violence, and a lot of leftist motherfuckers have been showing a more of an inclination towards violence in the last several months. So, I mean, I don't think there's not people out there. Plus, you got to take into account too, Trump is gutting the beast. I mean, you've got feds quitting, you've got fucking different, every DEI branch. You got people that are getting booted out of the service. That, I mean, they may be utterly fucking worthless in terms of actually defending the country, but they do have military training and background and comfort with weapons and things like that. Things that are need to be taken into account when we start planning for what may be coming down the pike. And realistically, I keep falling back to like wanting to talk to these dumb motherfuckers and try to explain to them with something resembling logic how we got here, why it is literally their own goddamn fault that the world that they think exists is falling apart around their ears, because you can't sustain bullshit. I mean, it's a lot of work, it costs a lot of resources, and at some point the narrative falls apart because it's not true, it's not valid, it's not real. I hate to keep coming back to the trans thing, but it's just a recent video that I was watching that really set me off about this. And honestly, I've said it before, I'll say it again. At the end of the day, if you're an adult and you want to feel like you're not in the right body and you want to do something about it, and whether it's cross-dressing or getting cross-sex hormones or getting surgery, depending on your resources and your availability, I don't fucking care. If you're a decent human being, that's all I give a shit about. In terms of an adult, I have a real problem with trying to push this on the kids, and that also goes for regular, plain old, boring ass, vanilla flavored heterosexuality. Children don't need to be sexualized in any way, shape, or form. They need to be allowed to grow and develop in a natural pace and come into those things naturally in their own time. It's not. It doesn't need to be shoved down their fucking throats, be it gay, straight, or other. And I honestly, like I said, when you're an adult and you want to live your own life, I honestly don't fucking care. It doesn't impact me. It doesn't affect my life. It matters not. But with Trump saying that if you have legit body dysmorphia to the extent where you don't believe you're in the right body and you are transgendered and you have a legitimate diagnosis of this and you need to get medical treatment for it, you're unfit to serve in the military. And honestly, I mean, for what it's worth, I get it, because the logistical nightmares, the constant, the necessary lifelong medical treatments, and the mental state behind it really don't make for having the best warfighters. I'm sorry to say it, but it's a fucking fact. That's one of those things I like about the fact that Pete Hegseth got appointed and he's running the DOD. He is about making America's armies the best warfighters on the planet. And I am completely behind the idea of that's what it should be. If we're going to have a standing army, which, unfortunately in the world we're in, we need to have one, we should have the best and most lethal force out there so we don't lose our people. Because the idea of, all the other horse shit, the acceptance and the inclusion and the global family that people are trying to push doesn't work when the rest of the world doesn't subscribe to your fucking beliefs. And trying to incorporate all those flawed concepts in terms of they don't work. Like I said, if you're an adult and you're living your own life, I don't fucking care. But in terms of, going to battle, if you need to be on hormones that are going to make your bones brittle, make your organs not function properly, and if you don't get them, you'll start fucking seizing up. Yeah, no, I don't want you on the front lines. And honestly, and this will probably piss a lot of people off, I don't want women on the front lines either. There are plenty of services women can perform in, support positions, logistical positions, strategic positions, data analysts and intelligence positions, things like that they're perfectly capable of. But there's no way some 5'1", 98-pound girl is going to be able to haul her 2 foot taller, some guy that's 6'8" and weighs 280 fucking pounds plus all his gear. If he gets shot, she's not going to be able to drag him back to safety. I mean, physicality matters in these things. If you're a woman, a born natural woman, and you can pass the military fitness standards test without accommodation, fine, so be it. You earned your place. I mean, that's what it all comes down to for me, is I believe we need to get back to meritocracy. We need to get back to making things work. And, but anyway, back to the video that was pissing me off. So I see this little video that comes up on one of my social media feeds, and it is from it's probably maybe a week old or whatever now. It's from right after Trump basically announced, yeah, we're getting rid of all this DEI shit. And first off, the biggest beneficiary of DEI programs pretty much across the board has been liberal white women. It's just a fucking fact. The statistics are all there. But, DEI I've never agreed with. I think it's bullshit. I think it's, bigoted, racist horseshit because it ignores meritocracy in favor of ticking boxes. Now, I'm all for saying, again, because I believe in meritocracy, I believe that your orientation, as long as it's toward another adult, your identity, your beliefs, your religion, your skin color, none of that shit matters as long as you're the best qualified individual. So believing in meritocracy pretty much precludes needing check boxes to make sure you're filling certain, making sure we have fair representation. Well, no, I don't want fair representation. I want the best of the fucking best across the board in every fucking field, in every fucking way, shape, and form possible. I don't want the fucking failures making my fucking burger, much less making decisions that could impact my entire goddamn life. So I see a video, again, right after Trump pulls the plug on all those DEI things. Basically, it's a transgender individual who is going off about how, this doesn't erase me, and what do I do now? They took my gender identifier box off of the passport application form, and I need to get a passport to leave the country because I don't feel safe here, which I might add is utterly fucking ridiculous, because these are the same people that are calling Trump racist for wanting to secure the borders to the country, and they say no person should be illegal, and they don't have a problem with people coming here illegally, but they're trying to get a passport to go somewhere else. So abiding by the law is really only relevant when you're going to another country, not coming into America, because this leftist mental illness that America needs to be this great, open, welcoming, bastion for all the fucked upon people in the world, and it's racist and bigoted of us to expect, people to go through the same shit that is required in almost every civilized country in the world, with the possible exception of Great Britain, because let's face it, they've just been welcoming the fucking invading hordes. Actually, a lot of Europe has been, importing the third world and just getting fucked over in the process. But anyway, this video with this poor shit upon trans person who was just underappreciated and undervalued and now feels unsafe in America because they don't want to acknowledge their existence, and they know they're going to wind up in a camp or something pretty soon. And it got me thinking, and honestly, with regards to that, and in a lot of ways, pretty much the left in fucking general, because a lot of the people I know are much like myself. They're very much consider themselves centrists. They don't agree with either side wholeheartedly, and there was a time where that was common sense. You didn't have to be fanatically devoted to your fucking team. And I don't know how this shift actually happened. I'm extremely disappointed in the fucking country that we got to this point where the fucking tribalism and the partisanism is so fucking bad. But there was a time when people like myself would have been more than content to just let these dumb fucks live their lives because it didn't impact us, it didn't bother us, and we didn't fucking care. But the problem is, and again, this is a grandiose, sweeping overstatement that is going to, in some cases, I'm trying to paint a fine picture with a very broad fucking brush. But ultimately, this is how I see it, and this is where I see one of the massive shortcomings of literally all of these fucking morons that are out here self-importantly just ranting and raving away about how the country betrayed them, and they're going to... I mean, again, very culty behavior. I can't speak to my father anymore because he voted for somebody who doesn't validate my feelings. He voted for somebody who doesn't believe I have a right to exist. No, your father voted for somebody who he believed would be the best person for the country and would, a guy who ran on a promise of rooting out corruption and waste and fraudulent behaviors that are destroying the economy, ruining our lives, making it where people don't plan on retiring. They try and figure out a job they'll feel comfortable dying at. And you have the emotional depth of a fucking saucer of milk because you aren't able to process that people can have disagreements without being utter soul-crushing enemies, and people don't have to believe everything you do. It doesn't require this tribalism of, if you don't believe everything I believe, then you're worse than fucking Hitler, literally. The retarded rhetoric that has come out of the left in grand and sweeping ways. And, I've spent the last 4 years venting my spleen talking about this shit. And for anybody who really wants to go way back in the catalog to before the fucking election that wound up with Sleepy Joe taking office, I was not any kinder to Trump back then. And I have no intention of being kinder to him if he falters now. I will call the right out just as quickly as I will call the fucking left out. Like I said, if the religious nuts really start taking over, if they start trying to, turn this into the fucking Handmaid's Tale, I will be the first one saying, no, motherfuckers, you guys are the morons now. You're every bit as culty and stupid as the fucking leftists are. However, at the moment, that doesn't really seem to be the case. It's like when you break up with your right-leaning friends, they are more than happy to just let you go on your fucking way. When you break up with your left-leaning friends, they will ostracize you, never speak to you again, and wish death upon you and everybody that you care about. Because it's one of the signs of a sane and rational mind is the inability to accept anyone's other thoughts that don't align exactly with yours. And in a lot of ways, and like I said, I've said this a lot, and I've refined my thoughts on the matter over the year. But when you lost the moderates, when you lost the people that were content to go, you know what, I don't like these right-leaning assholes, and I want to be cool with people. I want to let people live their best lives, and the left seems to be the way to go to do that. You lost a lot of us over the last 4 years because you got convinced that you won. You got convinced you were in there, and you fucking ran with it to the point of you stopped asking for acceptance and tolerance and, just to be treated like a fucking human being. If you weren't necessarily of the standard cut, if you weren't of the norm, if you weren't, and instead of just being content with being allowed to live your life as you saw fit, people started expecting to be lauded and celebrated and elevated with no good fucking cause. I mean, it's probably, as much as I hate this one, because as a tail end of the Gen X individual, we definitely saw this coming. And in all honesty, my generation is at least in part to blame for this shit. We had the overreaction of like, well, we were the feral fucking kids, and we didn't want that. So we had parents that were too involved in their kids' lives, never let them fall down, never let them get their boo-boos, never let them build up a fucking tough outer layer to protect them from the world that doesn't fucking care about them. So you get all these, everybody gets a trophies, nobody's feelings get hurt bullshit, weak, soft people coming along, and they produce weak, soft fucking kids. And it's not negative times a negative equals a positive. It's, two retards equals a fucking huge retard. So you get this situation where it was compounding. And now, hopefully, like I've said before, I have some hope because you do have kids of the younger generation, like my kid that was raised by a couple of caustic assholes. In a lot of ways, the Gen Alphas, the new kids, the little ones that are this next generation's come out, they're showing signs of being feral, and we have our hope restored. But in the meantime, the fuck around and find out generation really needs, you guys lost us. That's part of the reason the left managed to get as out of control as it did is we were content to just sit back and let you guys live your fucking lives. But when you started expecting like I said, not to be accepted, but to be celebrated, to be lauded, to be told you're special, to be told you're better, to be told you are worthy of admiration and people looking up to you and people holding you up as something that you're not. Being treated like you're accomplished and you're significant and you have meaning when you don't. See, for all my faults and all my foibles, I am firmly anchored in one belief, and that's not every single person has the same worth. Ever since I was a kid, since I was little, since I was a tyke, I never looked at everybody and went, yes, every person on this planet is exactly the same worth. I'm not a person who just automatically assigns value to life simply for merely existing. I've been told that makes me a cold, callous bastard. Maybe it does. I've been told that it's, applying too much logic. I've been accused of being a lot of things. I've been accused of being a soulless bastard. I've been accused of being a prick. And you know what? I kind of am. I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable with that. I'll lean into it. I do tend to exhibit certain sociopathic tendencies by the classical definition where I have a problem developing empathy with my fellow man. Not across the board. I actually can be a very sympathetic person. I can be a very caring person. I can be a very kind person. I can be a very generous person to a point. And I'm not to a fault like some people where it's like, I will give you the shirt off my back even if you are utterly unfucking worthy about it. If you're in a shit situation through no fault of your own, you will have my sympathy, and when possible, I will do what I can to help another person out. I've helped out people who are literally unworthy of my attention. I've helped out people who literally have fucking thrown it back in my face, fucking taken advantage of me. I've been used, screwed over, because at the end of the day, I do have a generous heart. However, I also have a practical side that says, if I go out of my way to help you, you have to be willing to help your fucking self. I'm not going to do the fucking work for you. I will do what I can to help facilitate you. If you caught a bad break and it's not due to your own fucking actions, I will do what I can to help you. I have done that for multiple people in multiple situations in multiple fucking ways, whether it be financially, whether it be helping people, putting a roof over somebody's head, putting a meal in somebody's fucking belly, donating when I have things to donate. Like I said, I'm kind of a dirt poor motherfucker. I'm not doing, well to the point where I can just casually offhandedly say, you know what I want to do today? I want to go out and donate a bunch of shit to people who don't have shit because I feel bad because I have shit and they don't have shit. I'm checking it just like a huge portion of this country right now. I make ends meet, but it's always a fucking struggle. And that's just the facts of the world we live in today. So if I deem you worthy of my assistance and you do something to piss me off, I will have zero empathy from you and you will never get a second fucking chance. I'm not a big believer. I mean, people have redemption arcs, but I'm not the one that's going to facilitate for you. If I help you and you fuck me over, I will never help you again. And I know I'm not alone on that. I know I'm not the only person that feels that way because a lot of us feel like we were really going along to say, you know what? Everybody's got worth, everybody's got value, live your best life, go forth and be fucking happy. And when that wasn't enough for people, when it wasn't enough to be allowed to exist as you saw fit, and you wanted to start forcing your beliefs on the rest of the country and on the rest of the world, when you wanted to start saying, you need to acknowledge that I'm better than you're treating me because I don't feel I'm getting a fair shake based on literally fucking nothing. When you have no accomplishments to point to, when you have no achievements to look at, and you just want to be celebrated for merely existing, literally the minimum factor, just existing. And realistically, you don't even get any credit for that because you didn't create yourself out of thin fucking air. If your parents hadn't gotten together and had a bad night of poor decision making and spawned your goofy ass, you wouldn't even do that because you don't have any kind of initiative or drive or goals or ambition or you don't contribute anything to the betterment of the world, and you just want to be celebrated just for fucking existing. Well, frankly, that's fucking disgusting. It's entitled, whiny, selfish horseshit. And the people who have that general attitude are the first ones to try and call out the rest of the fucking world for not, oh, you're so selfish. I can't believe you don't want to celebrate me. I can't believe you don't want to make me. And it's like, no, you smooth-brained fuck. That's not how this works. Nobody owes you a goddamn thing. you're not entitled to fucking, being lauded and celebrated and told you're better than the rest of the fucking world. And the problem is, like I said, it's not just the left, but it is more the purview of the left at this point. And it's even showing in these politicians who are getting called out and actively stumping against having their corruption exposed, which I understand. I mean, when you've been living as an elitist parasite for your entire adult life and all of a sudden the fucking grift comes to a screeching stop, these fuckstains believe their own hype and their own bullshit so severely. I mean, it's so intrinsic to who they are. It's so much their defining trait. It's part of their core of who they fucking are. They can't just, bow out with good grace. They can't say, you know what? I managed to grift millions of dollars off the American population over the course of my life-spanning fucking career in politics. I'm going to just, I'm going to say I'm too old for this shit and retire. I'm in my 60s. I'm in my 70s. I should go take my ill-gotten gains and sit on a fucking beach somewhere. But the problem is, power is the most addictive drug on the fucking planet. In this human nature, these motherfuckers got a taste and they will be worse than a fucking junkie trying to kick smack, trying to hang on to this power that they are completely unworthy of, that's completely undeserving. And they will expect people to deny the evidence of their eyes and ears to defend this because in their minds, they honestly believe they fucking deserve it. And whether it's small scale for the fucking barista who thinks you need to celebrate her uniqueness because, she's a zimzer and she's better than you because she uses made up words to identify as, and she has purple hairs and a fucking nose ring and fucking double gauge earrings and doesn't understand why she can't get a job paying more than $13 an hour. That will also give her a part-time schedule, let her work from home 4 days a week, and supplement her underwater basket weaving and lesbian dance classes. So these people, realistically, they're fucked. There's no hope for these assholes. And there's no hope for Congress, and I'm enjoying watching the system get torn down. And seeing all the leftist meltdowns and the fucking paid leftist shills and all the fucking social media twats that were, Biden, riding with Biden, Kamala is my girl, all these 20-something-year-old assholes trying to lecture the adults about how the world fucking works because they're being paid by the fucking DNC to do so. And, I'm seeing all these themes. I know all these Trump voters that regret their votes, and all my Trump neighbors are all of a sudden saying this isn't what I voted for. And it's utter fucking horseshit. I mean, the narrative came out from all of them at exactly the same fucking time. Trump voters are having buyer's remorse. I don't know a single person who voted for Trump that's not happy with the way he's doing things. They're only unhappy with the way the left is reacting. And people keep trying to say, what would you do if it was Republicans being exposed? We'd be happy about it. The tribalism is not that strong. I mean, a lot of people that voted for Trump don't consider themselves Republicans. I voted for Trump specifically because one leftist pissed me off. I don't consider myself a Republican. I never fucking have. But I voted for him. He's delivering on what he wanted. He's doing what he said he was going to do that got my vote. I mean, I'm petty, but I'm not petty enough to throw away my principles without at least thinking it kind of matters. And I didn't vote for Trump because I liked the fucking bastard. I voted for Trump because of who he was bringing with him and what he was saying he was going to do. And he's more or less kept his fucking word at this point because unlike all these career parasites, this motherfucker is not really a politician. He doesn't carry himself like a politician. He doesn't behave like a politician. The guy's a fucking businessman. And every single motherfucker who's out here bad-mouthing the way he does things, who's talking shit about every move he makes, who's running their fucking mouths about how incompetent he is doing this because they're looking at things through the lens of politicians. They're looking at the lenses through the lens of accepted practices in politics, which is what created the problems we're all facing at this point, which is what created things like the fucking Federal Reserve, which inflated our money away to being fucking worthless. $100 when the Federal Reserve was funded was worth $100. $100 for today relative to inflation is about $3 fucking bucks. And that's not a number I'm pulling out of my ass. That's like the legitimate statistic. The buying power of $100 at the founding of the federal government is roughly the buying power of $3. So what you could have got for $3 in 1913, you now will spend $100 on because of inflation, because of irresponsible government spending and mismanagement. And the people that are losing their shit over having this stuff exposed are the fucking problem. I mean, the parasites are the fucking, symptoms. The problem is the people that fucking are so just enamored with the system, are so dependent upon the system that they will literally fight to avoid acknowledging it or letting it be destroyed. And those are the people we need to try and reach. You need to talk to them. We need to try to explain to them calmly in whatever fucking manner. The problem is having a conversation with people who react purely based on emotions is always difficult. So when you are sitting down and talking to these smooth-brained fucks who will inevitably try and tell you how wrong you are, and when they can't actually back up their arguments with facts or they can't refute what you say to them, will go on the offensive and attack you emotionally, and the only thing you can really do is try and maintain your composure and just fucking ignore them and let them throw their fucking tantrums. But it's not easy, and, I'm wishing all of you the best, and this is getting kind of long-winded, so I'm going to put a pin in it now and say, for now, that's what I had to say. Thanks for listening to another episode, guys. If you liked what you heard, leave a comment, leave a review, leave a rating. Go to ihadtosayitpodcast.com, sign up for the mailing list, interact with the show. Click the links, sign up for the Patreon, join the Discord. Come and interact, be a part of the show. Buy the merch, support your favorite creator, or support me. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. Till next time.